Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Questions with Kurt. Today I'm going to discuss the question of why does it get harder to make new friends as we get older? Now, I've been thinking about this question more and more as I'm getting older and older, and I have noticed that it is getting harder to make new friends now in my 30s compared to when I was younger in my 20s or in college. And I have noticed there are general reasons why this is happening, and I sort of just wanted to discuss them and put them out in the open in case other people have been wondering this too, and I want to hear what you think. I think there are two main reasons or things that happen as we get older that make it harder to make new friends. The first thing I think is we start to change, because I think when we're younger, specifically in our early 20s, I'm going to limit this discussion to early adulthood, so post-college when you're on your own. Most of us are on our own, not living with parents or family, and it's the first time we're branching out. Where I'm comparing making new friends when you're early 20s versus as you get older, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. The first main reason is that when you're in your early 20s, you've just graduated from college and you've just moved into probably a new city or a new country, and you're probably working for the first time. And so we're sort of more open to meeting whoever, new people, all different kinds of people. We haven't sort of formed our opinions about the world yet. Our worldviews are still changing and evolving, and so we're very open to meeting anyone. Because we're sort of like a sponge absorbing anything that comes our way, it's sort of conducive to making new friends because we're in that mindset. There's more of an opportunity to make new friends, and because we aren't so selective. So I think as we get older, our belief systems, our value systems sort of solidify more and more. We also become less patient. We become more picky about who we spend our time with, and I think as people get older, they also take their careers more seriously and their jobs more seriously. That takes up more time, and so the amount of time that they can give to meeting new people, making new friends is a lot less. I also think we have to acknowledge that making new friends takes a lot of energy. It's exhausting. There's a lot of give and take. When we're younger, we have a bigger bandwidth in terms of patience that we'll give people in making new friends and sort of navigating the relationships. And if we disagree with someone, we're sort of more able to spend time with people we don't always agree with, or we sort of disagree with some things but we don't really care. But as we get older, our bandwidth for that patience also decreases, so we value our time more, and we also become more and more closed-minded in terms of our politics. So we just sort of narrow our friend circles to people who are like-minded because we don't want to always be arguing or whatnot. And so the second main reason I think it gets harder to make new friends as we get older, that is outside of our own personal changes and our own personal growth and our personal evolution, is how society has constructed friendship circles, or the system that our society has built in terms of family and relationships. Because I think as people get older, people pair up into relationships and then eventually marriage, and then eventually have a family. And so taking the first step of getting into a relationship and getting married, a lot of people, I think, once they get into a relationship, they no longer feel that they need to maintain close friendships with their friends, because they fall into this model of having their spouse be their everything, their spouse, their best friend, their lover, confidant. And so the role that friends, close friends, play in people's lives start to be smaller and smaller compared to when people were younger, people were single, people were just there to have fun. I say this all the time in my videos. I try not to create a value system and what is better and what isn't. People will be the way they want to be, and people will operate in whatever model they are most comfortable with, or what comes most naturally to them. But me personally, I make a conscious effort now that I am in a long-term relationship to still maintain my close friends. It is harder. It definitely gets harder. I mean, especially with all those other factors that I already mentioned with our own personal growth and evolution. This phenomenon that happens when we kind of pair up into relationships, it is easier to just rely on our partner, our spouse, for everything. As a sounding board, as a therapist, as your best friend. Because of this, it does get harder and harder to make new friends, just in terms of limited time and energy to devote to that. People start having families as well, and so that's another step of time that gets taken up taking care of kids and family. And so I think what ends up happening is friends, of course, take the back seat after spouse and kids and family, because having kids takes up so much time. Not speaking from personal experience, I'm just imagining. Having kids takes up so much time and energy that you really don't have time and energy to maintain your old friends, let alone make new friends. And so the new friends that you end up making are the parents of the kids that your kids are friends with. So like play dates or other parents you meet at school. And sort of hard to cultivate a real friendship when there's all that school politics involved. The friends that your kids choose, their parents aren't necessarily people you are going to be friends with or agree with or have the same interests in. You're sort of just like superficial friends because out of convenience, right? That's another way that we as a society has evolved in terms of friendship circles and how much time and effort we can devote to making new friends as we get older. These, I think, are the two main reasons that it gets harder. I've noticed in myself, and I think a lot of my friends have expressed it too, that it gets harder and harder to make new friends as we get older. I'm not saying it's a problem or not. I think for some people it does become an issue. I try not to create a value system and on what is a better way to live your best life, but there is something to be said about people who make their spouse their everything and neglect their old friendships, because there's a whole world of ideas and beliefs and worldviews that you sort of block yourself from when you make your spouse and your partner your everything, your best friend, your closest confidant, your only confidant, and you kind of shut out your other friends. I'm a true believer that every person in your life, I'm not talking about the relationships that are toxic and problematic, please let those go, but those friendships that you do find value in and that you do cherish, I think it is important to keep cultivating those as you get older and to be open to make new friends, because as I said, there's a whole world of different beliefs and values and worldviews that can enrich your life and help you live your best life and help you have a more enriched experience of living. I think I would encourage everyone, as important as your spouse and your partner is, I'm not taking away from that, but they are just one person and there's a whole world of people out there, people that you used to have in your life and new people that you could meet in your life that you shouldn't be close to just because you've sort of settled down. And I can't speak from personal experience in terms of having kids. I can imagine it's extremely hard when you have kids to be open to meeting new friends and to new worldviews, because all you're doing is trying to survive from one day to the next. Maybe it is too tall of an order to kind of juggle everything, but yeah, that's just my personal perspective from someone who doesn't have kids and doesn't have to struggle with that and doesn't really know what that's like. I'm discussing this and I'm thinking about it from the perspective of my friends who are still single, and I see how it does sort of suck that people, once they've sort of settled down into a relationship or partnership, that they start neglecting not only their old friends, but they also sort of close themselves off to meeting new people, as if their partner can fulfill every single need that they might have, which I think is problematic too, because I think there are a lot of things you need and can you get from your friends that you can't necessarily get from your spouse or partner. The thought I'll leave you with today is sort of just think about it and wonder and explore the possibility of being more open, and what things do you do that close yourself off to meeting new people or new friends? What things do you do that inhibits you from maintaining those old friends that you used to cherish back before you were married or before you were in a long-term serious relationship? Because you might be missing out on something that you don't know about that could make your life happier, and you can have both. So anyway, that's it for this week. It's a little lighter than my usual discussions and questions. Please let me know in the comment section below what you think of what I discussed today, if you agree or disagree, and let me know what other questions you'd like discussed in the future. Until then, see you next time. Bye.